Hey, what's up everybody? It's Alby, and today we are going to be cracking some packs of Aether Revolt. I'm going to be talking about where I want to draft these commons and uncommons, whether the rares that we open are playable, if I would take a common or uncommon over those. And hopefully the main goal is just to help you guys do better in sealed, as well as draft. I'm going to be talking about how I just like these cards in limited, because as you guys can tell from my pre-release, I did quite well. If you guys haven't seen the last video, I'm currently looking at a stack of 20 Aether Revolt prize packs, and I have an additional 10 packs coming to me when the set releases, for having the best record at my local game store. But all that stuff is in the last video. Definitely recommend you go watch that if you haven't seen this one yet. But we're going to go ahead and crack 2 packs today, and then over the course of, I guess, 10 videos, I'm going to be cracking 2 packs in each video, depending on how long these videos go. So hopefully you guys can learn some stuff. Tell me down below in the comments section if you disagree with anything I'm saying about any of these cards, if there's some cards that you like, that I say that I don't like, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead, crack this pack of Aether Revolt, and I'll cut back to when the pack is open and we get the draft. Alright guys, I'm back. I open up the pack, and the first card we have is Frontline Rebel. So it is 2 colorless and 1 red for a human warrior. It's a 3/3 and it attacks each combat if able. It's nothing too crazy, but it actually wasn't that bad. The claws having to attack each turn if able isn't really that bad if you're in an aggro deck, because you want to be turning stuff sideways anyway. I was actually really surprised with this card. Even when I didn't want to attack with it, it was able to crew up my vehicle so that it wouldn't have to get in. I played this card in actually quite a few of my decks that I played at the pre-release, because it's just a nice little filler card. So definitely not something that you want to take too highly in the draft format, but in something like Sealed, it's a decent common to have. The next card is Metallic Rebuke. There we go, not Metallic. Good. God. All right, 2 colorless and 1 blue for an instant with Improvise. Improvise, of course, meaning that your artifact can help cast the spell. You tap the artifact and it counts for 1 generic mana. And it says counter target spell unless its controller pays 3 colorless. Personally, I'm not a fan of this card. I'm not usually a fan of counter spells in limited, because they get really bad late game, especially things like this where they can pay mana to negate the counter spell. So I'm not sure how I feel about this card. I'm not really a huge fan of it, but I saw some other people running it at the pre-release that were a fan of it. So my personal opinion is to stay away from it, but other people would probably tell you otherwise. Alright, the next card we have here is a very good common. This is Caught in the Brights, 2 colorless and 1 white for an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and whenever a vehicle you control attacks, exile enchanted creature. Something to note with this card that I was stupid with. This is not revoke privileges. The creature can still crew vehicles. So when you line up your plays assuming that they can't crew up their vehicle because you have Caught in the Brights on it, that's incorrect. They can totally crew up their vehicle. However, this is definitely a very, very good card. If you're running some vehicles, then you have the possibility to exile their creature. But even if you're not running any vehicles, I think it's still perfectly fine as just a pacifism effect to make their creature not attack or block. The next card we have is Unbridled Growth. I didn't get a chance to run any of these at pre-release, but it's a very good card for fixing, and I even saw some people running it even when you're only in a 2-color deck, because just 1 colorless for some card draw isn't too bad. It's a perfectly fine card, definitely good if you're splashing multiple colors, but not something that you want to pick too early in a draft format. The next card is Night Market Aeronaut. This is 3 colorless and 1 black for an Aetherborn Warrior 2/2 flyer, but he has Revolt. So Night Market Aeronaut enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn. So you have the potential of getting a 3/3 flyer in black for 4 mana, which is pretty solid. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it, though. I found myself not triggering Revolt as often as I thought that I would, because most of the time when you're in racing situations, people don't really want to trade. So I would feel that most of the time this is probably coming down as a 4 mana 2/2 flyer, which isn't the greatest, but I guess if you need playables, it's something that you would run in draft or sealed. The next card is Foundry Assembler. So for 5 colorless mana, you get a 3/3 with Improvise. Not sure how I feel on this card. I didn't see a lot of people running it. Improvise seems like it's a very fun mechanic to mess around with if you have enough artifacts, and I was definitely using it. In one of my sealed pools, I opened up the card that said that all my non-artifacts get improvised, which I then put a few artifacts in my deck to use as like mana rocks to help play more cards. So I do like the improvised mechanic. I'm not sure about this card because like best case scenario, you're going turn one, play a 1-drop artifact. Turn two, play a 2-drop artifact, and then turn 3 you would be playing this Foundry Assembler. And even at that, you're just getting a 3/3 for 3, which isn't the greatest upside. So personally, I'm not a huge fan of the Foundry Assembler, but I guess if you're in a heavy artifact deck, that I could definitely see people running it. The next card is Aether Poisoner, so this is 1 colorless and 1 black for a 1/1 human artificer with Death Touch. And when it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy counters. And then whenever it attacks, you may pay 2 energy counters. If you do, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. I'm not sure about this one. I think I like it, but I didn't really see many people playing it. I like Death Touch in Limited, even though most of the true bombs that you're going to see in Limited will usually have like flying. So this can't really do much about those. But Death Touch is just a very solid mechanic. For some of your creatures to have in Limited. It will act sometimes as like a kill spell, but this one dies to removal pretty easily with it only being a 1/1. So I'm not sure how I feel about it. I would still think that we're definitely picking Cotton the Brights so far in this pack. We're not going to be taking this Aether Poisoner. But tell me down low in the comments, what are your opinions on the Aether Poisoner as well as any of these other cards. The next card we have here is Night Market Guard, so it's 3 colorless mana for a 3/1 artifact creature construct, and then it can block an additional creature each combat. I'm not sure how I feel about this card either. Same thing as I said for the Aether Poisoner, only having 1 toughness, it dies to removal pretty easily. However, this card being able to block an additional creature each combat can help you win race situations by just clogging up 2 of their blockers if they're just coming at you and you're coming at them back and forth. It can definitely help to negate some of the damage that they're doing to you, as well as probably killing off one of their creatures since you have 3 power. I'm still not sure how I really feel about it. It's definitely going to be interesting. I think it's a fine filler card for draft. I'm not sure about sealed, possibly for sealed. I feel like there's some other things that you could be doing in sealed instead of this card, but I feel like it's perfectly fine. The next card we have is a bad card. This is Prize Fighter Construct for 5 colorless mana. You get a 6/2 artifact creature construct, and this is not a good card at all. You're spending 5 mana, even though it is of any color of mana, you're spending 5 mana to just trade off with probably their 2/2 that they played on turn 2 or something like that. You're wasting a lot of mana for not much upside. Yeah, not much to say here. Not a very good card. We're just going to skip over that one. Here we have another card that I kind of like. I played, I believe, 2 of them I played 1, and then I talked my other friend into playing 2 of them in his sealed pool. So this is Mobile Garrison for 3 colorless. You get a 3/4 vehicle, and then whenever it attacks, you can untap another target artifact or creature you control, and it has a crew cost of 2. So it's not exactly the greatest in terms of putting in 2 power only to get an additional power out of it. But I do like that you can untap the creature. You can untap the creature that you use to crew it. You can untap something else. Just really cool card. I like it personally. I think it's one of the better vehicles. I like it better than something like Sky Skiff. Or just basically any vehicle from Caledon, or no, I don't know. There's a lot of like just random uncommon and common vehicles that I just am not a fan of, and I kind of like this one. I still think I'm picking Cotton the Brights over it, so I think this probably though would be like my second pick out of the commons. Because we're on to the uncommons now. I would say Mobile Garrison is probably the second best common in this pack, with Cotton the Brights being the best common in the pack. The next card we have here is Shielded Aether Thief. So this is 1 colorless and 1 blue for a 0/4, but it has flash, and whenever it blocks, you can get an energy, and then you can tap it and pay 3 energy to draw a card. I kind of like this card. I think it's cool. For just 2 mana to block their 2/2 is normally what's going to happen, and then you'll get one colorless, or you'll get one energy. There we go. You'll get one energy, and then eventually you can just pay 3 energy and tap it to draw a card. You can just draw the card at the end of their turn. You can block with it to get your 3rd energy, and then when they pass the turn back to you, you can tap it, draw a card, and then draw your additional card then for the turn. I like this card a lot. I'm not sure if I'm picking it over Cotton the Brights. When you draft, you definitely want removal to be, um, at the forefront of your mind when you're drafting. It's kind of an interesting decision though between these two. I'm probably leaning towards Cotton the Brights, even though I do like the Shielded Aether Thief a lot. Especially in some sort of energy deck where you don't even need to block with it to, get the energy to just draw extra cards. Drawing cards unlimited is definitely helpful. I would say this is probably the current 2nd best card in the pack. I think we just opened up the card that's going to replace Cotton the Brights here. This is Hungry Flame. So for 2 colorless and 1 red, we get an instant. It deals 3 damage to target creature and 2 damage to target player. Very good removal. I like it a lot, especially I like the color red in this set. A lot of really fast aggro as well as a lot of good removal burn spells. I definitely am picking this Hungry Flames so far out of all of the other cards that we've taken. So Cotton the Brights moves out of the way. Hungry Flames is really good. You can kill one of their creatures and deal 2 to them. Not much else you really have to say about it. It's just a really, really good card. So yeah, on to the next card. The next card we have here is an interesting one that I don't think I saw anybody running at the pre-release. This is Illusionist Stratagem. So 3 colors and 1 red for an instant. Exile up to 2 target creatures you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Draw a card. So situations where this becomes good is, if you have a lot of creatures with enters the battlefield effects, you'll be able to reoccur those enter the battlefield effects. It can also be used to, if they play something like Cotton the Brights on your creature, you'll be able to exile it and return it back down. The Cotton the Brights enchantment would fall off, and you'd be able to attack and block again with that creature. I do like that it lets you draw a card and replaces itself. I don't know if I like it enough though. I still think best card is Hungry Flames so far. 2nd best would be Cotton the Brights. 3rd best, either Mobile Garrison or Shielded Aether Thief. But I think this one might be 4th or 5th best. There's a lot of enters the battlefield effects that I like. And the fact that it replaces itself and draws a card is something I really like. And I'm laughing because we just opened up a mythic here in this first pack, but it's not exactly the best mythic. So we opened up Mechanized Production for 2 colorless and 2 blue. We get an Enchantment Aura. Enchant artifact you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of Enchanted Artifact. Then, if you control 8 or more artifacts with the same name as one another, you win the game. So there's 2 big ways to look at this card. You can look at it as A, I'm going to win the game if I control 8 of these artifacts. I'm going to set up my deck around this card and make sure that I can, have enough removal to stall out the game long enough for me to create 8 of these tokens. Personally, I'm not a fan of it like that. I do like just creating, putting your deck together the way that you would normally put together a deck, and then just having the additional value of creating an additional creature for you at the beginning of your upkeep every turn. You can copy a lot of cool stuff with these. There's a lot of artifact creatures that you can copy, and I would say that that's probably your best bet with this card. You don't actually want to choose it as, the win the game clause. It's most likely not going to happen. As disappointing as that sounds, because I do love this card, and I tried to brew a deck around it. I tried to build a green-blue clues deck around it, and I'm not sure how I feel about the list. It's definitely not like tier 1 competitive, but it is definitely a fun list for somebody to run if they ever wanted a deck to go to F&M. I would say I don't know whether I like that or Hungry Flames more. I think I'm going to, if I had to put out I'll probably just say the best 3 cards in the pack every time. I'm going to put Hungry Flames as the best card in the pack, Cotton the Brights as the 2nd best card in the pack, and Mechanized Production as the 3rd best card in the pack. If this wasn't our first pick, We could definitely, actually, this is kind of interesting because we could take the mechanized production and then just take all the good artifacts that we see so we know that we're going to have good targets. But I would rather the situation be that I already have a good artifact, and that I want to choose this mechanized production knowing that I already have something good that I can copy with it. With the mechanized production, to me, on a first pick, I'm definitely going with the Hungry Flames. It's good removal. Caught in the Bright's also good removal if you wanted to be in white instead. And then mechanized production, if you really want to take the mythic, you can take the mythic. Um, but if you're looking to walk on with some, extra prize packs, I would definitely go with the Hungry Flames for this pick. So we are currently 6 minutes or we are not 6 minutes in. We are 17 minutes in. Good God. I apologize for that. This was just one pack. So I guess we're not doing 2 packs in this video. I'll draw it out across the course of several videos. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys are going to watch the next few episodes, go ahead and tell me what would you guys have taken from that pack. Did you disagree with anything I said? Did you agree with anything I said? Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below, and hopefully this all helps you guys out with your drafts and your sealed pools in the future. Leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't seen any of my other videos or if you're just not subscribed yet, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.